Where's my Twitch app? There it is. Alright, just waiting for it to boot up. Oh, here we go. There we're going. Alrighty, guys, this is the part of the show where this isn't actually officially part of the audio show, just a visual show, but we are streaming now on Twitch. Thank you guys so much for watching. But yeah, like I said, I always say every week, if you guys watch this every week, I don't know how to edit the video part, so I just export it straight from Twitch and put it on our YouTube channel. But then later on, if you want to hear the clean cut version where I edit it down and put our intro and outro in there, the audio version will usually be up the day or two after. So, anyways, gonna put a little block in here, and then I will officially do the start of the show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 408 of the DrunkNerds podcast. I'm host, as always, I'm Tyler, and joining me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Man, quite a lot this past week. So during this past week, a couple things happened. One, and you had drinking the Gables again.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, first things first is I actually have a new dog.
Oh, that's right.
So
I'm so excited.
so last Tuesday I got a call. My mom got a call from one of the housekeepers that helps out my dad and stuff. Say, hey, we found this offer that's going around here, like this dog, this small dog, and stuff like that. And they were talking back and forth and stuff. And it's like, so the lady talked the person down from $100 to about $50 and stuff. It was a 9-month-old puppy, this and that, blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. So the mom jumped on the deal because she was looking for a lap dog with my dad. So I get home that night, I think it was, and and my mom's like, oh, okay, this she's gonna be coming in like around maybe 7, 8 o'clock tonight and stuff with this dog, blah blah blah. She had to go all the way to like a faraway place and stuff like that, and then come back. And so I hear a knock on the door. My mom's in the other room, and so I open the front door, right, and here's our housekeeper with her grandson and this dog. This dog is like he is called he's a Chiweenie. So so basically, what a Chiweenie is, it was a dog breed that was popularized in the 1990s. Is a mixture of a Chihuahua and a German Dachshund.
Oh, okay.
So that's the term Chiweenie. Otherwise, the other terms are kind of interesting that I've learned about. Either a German taco or a Mexican hot dog. Those are the nicknames for this dog breed.
German taco. That's my favorite sex position. How'd you know, Gables?
Oh my gosh. So, with that little nugget of
Scheiße.
knowledge, this dog immediately he sees me, right, and stuff, and so it's like, okay, I'll put him on this little leash and stuff that we bought, put a little collar on him, this and that. And what's kind of funny is like my mom's like, okay, let's have him sleep in your room tonight. We got this small box, we had everything beforehand, food, water, blah blah blah. A night goes by. I wake up the next morning. I have to go to work and stuff like that, and so I take him out of his box, and he's feeling a lot better because he was on these little anxiety like
Hmm.
whatever type of things and stuff. He's very skittish. He's very timid. He basically was on an Indian reservation, and so they let the dogs like run a little bit, a little wild and stuff. And I think he was being harassed by like kids, like toddlers, this and that,
Mm.
whatsoever. So they finally had to give him up to this one lady, which sold him to us. And so I wake up the next morning after all of this, and the dog he will not go anywhere without me. Quintessentially, anywhere I go, he follows me along. And so immediately, like within like a day or two, he's bonded with me. And so it ended up becoming my dad's lap dog. All of a sudden became my dog.
Noise. Noise.
And what's hilarious about it, we were trying to come up with a name for the dog, and what's kind of funny, it ended up becoming my mom going onto Google, and it's like, okay, what's a good name for a Chihuahua? And all of a sudden, it's like Chico. I'm like, okay, well, we'll go with Chico. He sounds like a Chico, so that's his name. And currently, right now, he is sleeping inside of his box he was going around. This dog, he has such a ball of energy and stuff. So he's in his box right now. He has a
Mm-hmm.
cover over him, so he's trying to sleep. But he is as he pretty much is like a good solid like 10 or 15 pound dog. But I take him out back the backyard and stuff, and in less than a week, he already is like a member of the family. When essentially he knows he the surprise does he's already potty trained. So
Oh,
it's like
good.
he can go outside, go pee, and he actually uses the paper in order to do his business and stuff. But what's kind of funny, what is also kind of interesting, is we have to get a dog gate because he will bolt out of the front door or the backyard because he's so used to being outside that he wants to
Oh,
be outside.
yeah.
Especially if like I leave for work or I leave things, he's got terrible separation anxiety. But yeah, that's one of the things that ended up happening to me, and part of the reason why I didn't really have a chance to play as much games, but I did play something this week. So
Mm.
that happened. Obviously, work stuff happened. The Super Bowl happened, and quite honestly, I am very happy after the whole year of having the Kansas City Chiefs shoved down my throat.
Mm.
I am finally happy to see that it comes around in full circle
Yeah.
in that regards. Now,
It,
granted, Kansas City Chiefs, great team. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, great team and stuff. But I didn't care who won, but I'm glad I'm not hearing the Chiefs going around again.
yeah, it's like the bittersweet thing. It's like, oh, thank God the Chiefs didn't win it because they're gonna be in it for the next 10 years basically. But it's
Yeah,
like
essentially.
the guy that stopped them from winning it is Tom fucking Brady, the guy that's been shoved down our throats for 20 years. And I'm not even like I said a couple weeks ago, I'm not even a Tom Brady hater. I just I don't know. It was just one of those matchups where it's like it's just fun to see new blood in there,
Yeah.
new and it's just like this year was like we've seen, like I said a couple weeks ago, we've seen the guy that's been in it for the last 20 years versus the guy that's going to be in it for the next 20 years. So that I
Yeah,
don't know.
just watch. The next year is going to be like two totally different teams in the Super Bowl. I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
just have a feeling about that. But
Yeah.
it's just that desperate in the NFL right now to where quarterbacks are going around the carousel when essentially going to whatever teams. This is the highest amount of QBs I've ever seen in the league in the past like 20 some odd years, where all of these quarterbacks at once, either if they're superstars or whatsoever, are either
Yeah.
rumored to be traded or actually are being traded. And it's a lot of fun possibilities, especially with what Tyler and I was talking about before recording, where it's like salary caps being reduced a little bit. Players are going to try to go for like maybe 2 to 3 year deals as opposed to say like the whole 5 to 10
Yeah.
for long term stuff.
Yeah.
It's
It's
going to
gonna
be
be
crazy next year.
yeah. The most exciting part maybe about this whole year of this next calendar year of football might be the 6 months where there actually is no football being played because just seeing how many teams are going to be have to cut players because instead of the cap going up $15 million is going to drop 20, so they can't afford all these players they have, and then where all these superstar quarterbacks are going to go. So it's going to be
I'd actually, I'd actually argue the most exciting part was not the Super Bowl itself, but the start of this month of February, learning all about these rumors and like things like that, and all the QB stuff, Stafford being traded, Carson Wentz rumored to be traded, and like
yeah,
everything else going into play. And now I'm looking at it from a fan's perspective of like, okay, my team is in the talks of like a couple of different things here and there, nothing concrete, but I'm having a lot of things to look forward to from now to April, and especially from now until the beginning of the season.
yeah,
Now, because it's just that I know the 49ers, they're just I feel like, barring the injuries, they are Super Bowl contenders. But at that same time, they need to address a lot of the issues they have.
yeah,
And a lot of that has to apply with a lot of their key needs. QB, they're committed to Garoppolo. I mean, offensive line stuff needs to be improved. Their secondary needs to be improved, in my honest opinion. Not sure if Sherman's coming back. But anyway, this is a gaming podcast.
yeah.
And basically, yeah, just been playing some stuff. But how have you been doing, Tyler?
Doing all right, man. Hey, no big deal. We both love football, and we always, it's our gaming podcast, but we also always talk about what's going on with us and shit like that. It's just like I was talking last week, a couple weeks ago when Packers lost. Like, your team was 10 minutes away from winning the Super Bowl last year. My team
Yep.
was 8 yards away from being in the Super Bowl this year. So it's just like, yeah, they one or two things go differently, or a couple of tweaks here and there with the roster, and you and I, our teams will be playing again next year in the NFC Championship game. Um, so
Odds
who knows?
on, it probably. Who knows? It's crazy enough to actually happen again.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully it goes better for me this time, and not watching your running backs run for 7,000 yards and 22 touchdowns at
Oh god,
halftime.
that was an anomaly.
Yeah, let's not talk. I don't want to talk about that. It still hurts. I'm having PTSD flashbacks now. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm with you though. Yeah, like one or two things with the Packers this year. It's like they're the everything's for the most part everything's there. They just that one or two upgrades positions, and they'll be right back where they were last year.
Yeah,
Hopefully they get those
they
8 yards.
need to give Rogers more weapons. I
Yeah,
mean, more weapons and more support.
he's gonna be 38. We got limited time with him, so let's make something happen. But other than that, I've been okay. It's been a kind of a crappy week from a weather standpoint. Just where both my jobs require me driving, and it's just been a lot of snow, and then it's winter's really here now, where it's snow, and then also 8 degrees is the high, pretty much the last like 4 days. It was so bad this morning. I let Louis out to go to the bathroom, and he was mid poop, and he's like, "Fuck this! I'm going inside." Like he's just like literally like pooping and running in the house. He's like, "I'm not even gonna finish. I'll just fuck it." So like that's how cold it is. Um, so yeah, it's been a yeah. So it was nice, today. I didn't have to get out of my PJs, and for the most part, outside of letting Louis out and then going in the basement to do laundry, I haven't had to deal with the cold all that much, and I just sit in PJs and stay in the warm house. So that's nice. But yeah, it's whatever. I had like a really weird situation this week though, earlier this week, where
Uh-oh.
um, one of the scariest moments of my entire life, where I delivered a package to this lady, and set it by her door, knocked, walked away, and I get in my car, and I was looking at my phone. I was looking at my device for work, and I was looking, all right, where am I gonna go next here? Just kind of playing out my next couple stops, and I just kind of look up to go, because I was looking down. And I look up to go, and I see something out of my driver's side here, and I look, and there was just an old lady just standing there staring at me, and I was like a jump scare. Like, oh fuck! And I roll the window down, and I mean she didn't say a word. She wasn't doing. She was just, I don't know, who God knows how long she's been there. I was probably down like this looking at my phone for our device, whatever, for a minute maybe, and so, and she's like, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, "Do you live here?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I set a package for you by the door." She's like, "Oh, okay. I didn't see it." I'm like, "No, it's okay. Not a big deal. I like your hair. Thank
Thank you.
thank you." Is it naturally red, or did you dye it?
Oh
It's
my
natural.
god.
And, I mean, it went on. I mean, this was like a 2 minute. I'm like, I'm busy as fuck. Like, I don't have time for that. I can't. I'm not getting my shit done today as is. And this woman just wants to talk to me for 2 minutes about my hair. I'm like, I don't. No, please leave me alone. She looked like I don't remember the name of the actress from the movies, but there's like these horror movies, like a bunch of horror movies this woman's in, and she just looked like that woman. I can't. What the fuck movies is that called?
Elvira?
We have to look it up real fast.
Is it
What was
Elvira?
it? Might be. God damn it! I can't remember the name of those movies. There's like 3 of them that just came out like in the last
Oh
like
no.
decade. But she's also in Kingpin. She was the landlord in Kingpin.
Oh.
Landlord in Kingpin. Let's look it up. Bam. Okay. All right. Here it is. Uh, Lynn Shay is her name. Let me
Lin Shay.
here. Let me here. Let me see if so this is gonna be an audio thing here, or audio thing. It's gonna be a visual thing for you guys. I don't know how does it get. I can't full screen it, but it's her right there. That's what she looked like right there.
Oh god.
Well, minus the blood and the knife. But I mean, if the conversation would have continued, it might have been like that. That might end up happening to me. I don't know. she could be recording this show with my skin suit, and no one would know. Uh, but yeah, Lynn Shay is her name, the actress. But what movie? I was gonna look up what movie she was in. God damn it! I'm gonna have to do some weird. I'm gonna have to delete my fucking search history here after this fucking podcast.
Oh my god.
Insidious. She's in the Insidious movies. That's where she's
Oh,
from.
okay.
But yeah, scared the fuck out of me. Um, but yeah. Anyways, uh, yeah, it's a weird fucking very scary moment. Not don't recommend. Don't do that again. I'm gonna be on my toe. I'm gonna be like I'm gonna park in the street but leave the car running, and I'm gonna like chuck if I have to go back there, I'm gonna chuck the package to her door from the street. Don't even care if it's fucking a chandelier. I'm chucking it. Fuck it.
She just goes right. Wait, let me talk to you about your hair.
Is it a natural hair dye? But yeah, it's God, it was terrifying. But yeah, that's nothing other crazy. Yeah, like watch Super Bowl. It was a I didn't have a horse in the race either. But I just wanted to entertain a game. Didn't really get that so much, but it was whatever. Um, but Gables, like I said, we are a video game podcast where we primarily talk about video games. But I want to talk about one thing that is video game related, but that isn't really
Okay.
so much a news story. Did you hear about Lady D from Resident Evil 8, Gables?
Okay, what about Lady D?
Did you hear about her height?
8 feet.
9'6", Gables, with the hat and
Jesus
standard
Christ.
high heels. If I can hear the erections in this from the people watching this right now. I can hear the stretching of their pants. God, you might have heard mine. 9'6". Come step on me, please. Choke me with your stiletto. Oh my God. Good Lord. Nips are hard. I'm gonna have to raise the camera because I don't want to see my nips poking through my shirt. Oh boy, 9'6". Oh goody. No, it was just it was incredible. I love the fact that like the people from Resident Evil 8 just came out with the press release and is like, we've heard all the fandom around. I don't know how I'm not even gonna try to say her fucking name. It'd be like me trying to read a Pokemon's a name that I don't know. That's after Gen 2. But anyways, she might as well. She might actually be like the final evolution of a Pokemon for all we know. But anyways,
Welcome to a fandom that has any type of adult material made about it after it's been released.
mm-hmm.
That's what anime fandoms deal with in their entirety.
Yeah, let's not talk about some of the weird shit I see when I go on the internet when it's it's a happy time, and I'm just scrolling through and I'm like I'm on page 6 and I'm looking and I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, Marge Simpson, no, no, why?
Oh, let's type in Japanese squid. Like, oh god.
Okay, 1 second. Am I allowed to show that on Twitch? You think I'm allowed to show that? I don't. We might get kicked off Twitch.
No,
like
no.
3 weeks in order to get kicked out. Let's not do that. We'll do that in Drunk Nerds After Dark. It's $15 a month. We're on Cinemax at 11. But anyways, yeah, 9'6" Gables, sexy as fuck. She's got to have back problems for sure. Wearing the heels like that, having the bend down to go in every doorway. I my hope for the end of Resident Evil 8 isn't like she turns into a giant monster like all the bosses do at every Resident Evil game. I want her to like get smaller, and that's what happens. Or better yet, she like you're fighting and you're at the top of the stairs and she just falls to her death. And that's how she dies. She doesn't actually fall down the stairs. She just falls, like and just she dies because she fell from a great height. Because she wears 42-inch heels. That's what I want. That'd be that. If the game doesn't end like that, I want them to really play into it. Like I want them to get really freak nasty with this shit, and I want some crazy cutscenes. I want Hideo Kojima to direct those cutscenes. We're gonna have unnecessary shots like right up in certain areas. I'm not even gonna, you already know what I'm talking about. Her ankles. I'm talking about her ankles. And then eventually you just knock her over. Like you just fucking, you don't shoot her a bunch of times. You don't hit some yellow orb on her body. You just knock her over.
Just trip her down.
Yeah. I just, it's like you and Ethan and his wife, they're like on both sides of like a doorway and they just like pull like some like a ripcord, and she's running down the hallway, and she trips and just falls, bam, dead. Like she might as well have jumped out of like a 20-story building. That'd be perfect. That's how I want Resident Evil 8 to end. If it doesn't, fuck that game. I'll
Maybe
rank
like a
Resident Evil
scene
6
from
above
freaking
it.
Home Alone 2 where you're
Yes.
like the
Yeah.
freaking thing, and all of a sudden he just ties a bunch of paint cans and just knocks her down the stairs.
Gables, what if? Oh, what if she walks in the door of the mansion at the end of Resident Evil 8, and you put a bunch of fucking RC cars down, a bunch of Hot Wheels, and she slips on them. That's how she dies. That's what I want to happen. And then the giant tarantula from Resident Evil 1 walks in and walks over her face. That's a
She goes
perfect.
through a freaking doorway, and all of a sudden it's a blowtorch there.
Oh, this...
It's like, oh, I just told him. Oh.
And then, what if before she dies, Ethan climbs on top of her, and Ethan's up there like, Harry, I've reached the top. That would be perfect. That's what I want to happen.
Oh my lord.
Oh man.
Oh man.
And we find out the little short Napoleon dude from Resident Evil 4 is her son. That's how we tie it in. It's actually a prequel to Resident Evil 4, and that's his revenge to her. Leon shows up and causes her to die. I love this. We should go write for Capcom. Why aren't we writing video games? Why are we doing this?
Oh my god.
What
dude.
if we write the Pornhub version of Resident Evil 8? And this is the beginning.
Oh god, no. I ain't getting tied up with that shit. But I'll tell you what, that's just a funny concept.
I'm gonna put your name on it, and I'll be the ghostwriter. That's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get all the credit.
You're the fucking ghostwriter. Why are you the ghostwriter?
Because I don't want people to know I did it. I want you to get all the credit and your name be on it. It'll sell more if it says Gables, not Tyler. Gables. I fucking put Gabe Stunk on as the title of last week's podcast. Boom. Viewers, listeners through the fucking roof. My first Photoshop, by the way. Huh? It did better than normal, but it's not through the roof. But through the roof for us. Yeah, but it did better than normal. It's not like that time I put anime porn as our title, and we had like 70 times the listeners than we normally do because I put porn in the title, anime porn in the title. Wasn't like that, but it was second. It's a close second. That's my first Photoshop. If you guys haven't looked at that, I put that as the picture on our YouTube episode for that. I was very proud of it.
We can officially say that that title of that thing was one of the biggest like flexes I think you've done for a freaking title in like a long time.
I felt really good about it. I laughed in the car to myself for a solid 10 minutes when I thought of that Photoshop of Gabe. Just Gabe replaced the dude from Stonks and put Gabe's picture on it. It was a solid. It was a highlight moment for my week. Was laughing at that. Just the image of it. It took me a solid 3 minutes sitting on the toilet to make that Photoshop. By the way.
Oh
so,
god.
Appreciate it. This is what I do when I'm on the toilet. Not this drinking a beer, but make Photoshops. Make Photoshops with your picture in it. I like how 10 minutes ago I said this is a video game podcast where we primarily talk about video games, and we've just talked about weird porn kinks and Photoshops with you. I don't know what we do anymore. It's fucking weird.
Well, tying it back to Resident Evil 8, where it's like Resident Evil 8 cross Home Alone 2. I'm still trying to think of like other things. Oh, and you know what's gonna have to cap it all off? It's like she chases you inside of a middle of a freaking like park or some shit, and all of a sudden she just trips on the fucking like on a lake or some shit, just like slips.
There you go. And then some homeless lady the Duke is the homeless lady in the situation and shows up and saves you at the end. Boom, done. Donald Trump is there. He's just in the mansion hanging out with the three witches.
God.
He's like, this is a great mansion. Solid mansion. I like this room. The biggest bed you ever seen. The biggest bed. Look at this lady, so tall. They don't make women this tall. But in this case, he'll actually be accurate. He'll be honest for once. It'll be stunning. Or he'll lie and he's like, no, Futurama, women taller. Just her, sad. I'm all for it.
Oh my god, I need a moment after this. Though. I'll be right back.
Okay. Gables has walked out of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. He's walking away. I wonder if we can see Chico. I want to see Chico. I don't know if I'm going to cut this out of the audio version or not, but the video version, we might see Chico. And that's all I want in the world is to see Chico. And Gables now has wireless headphones, so I don't know if he can hear me. But if he can't, I don't know. I don't actually have anything to say. I don't have a reply to that. But if you can hear me, Gables, if you're laughing right now, let me see fucking Chico. I want to see the baby. This is what happened. This is why Gables is the talent. Because, he walks away. I got nothing to say. Gables here, podcast, boom. Fucking going like crazy, spouting off, just going back and forth. He's out here talking like a madman about fucking Home Alone and Lady D from Resident Evil 8. I got nothing. He's the star of the show. I'm the producer. He's the star. We can just not have me on the show and then let him talk for an hour and a half, and the show would be better off. It's just let me edit it. That's all I gotta do. I'm gonna drink this Kale beer. It's just too much. Too much. A 6-pack would have been fine. I got, they only sell 12 packs. Now I have like 6 of these left, or well, no, I guess 4 of these left now. For I already drank 2, and I don't want them, but they're there. And it's just all I had. And I was at the grocery store yesterday, and I was like, I should probably get some more beer. I'm like, if I don't drink those, if I buy more beer, I'm never gonna drink those Gables. So I better just drink the Gables. I'll drink it in, man. Drink it in. That's just it. It's a weird show. Weird show this week. 408. Almost 8 years in, and I don't know what the fuck we're doing. This is good times. Good times that we have here. Drinking another Gables. That's all I got. I'm gonna have to pee here in about 20 minutes, and it's gonna hurt for the rest of the show. I'm calling it right now. I was talking years ago. I remember having a conversation with Justin about doing the podcast, and this is off air. And he's like, "There's no worse pain than the podcast pee," and I knew exactly what he meant when he's just like, when you got to pee really bad, but you're doing the podcast, and you don't want to walk away, but it's just like you're in just so much pain that you can barely focus on the conversation, barely keep a thought going, but you just power through, and eventually you either go or you suck it up. And I feel like my bladder is permanently affected because of this podcast. Not only because of the alcohol I've consumed while doing this podcast, but also the fact that I have held my pee in for multiple hours on end. It probably done reversible damage too. It's like I'm like an NFL player, but instead of concussions, it's making permanent damage to my brain. It's my testicles and probably also my kidneys. Is my kidneys? Kidneys. He's been gone for a while. I don't know. I'm running out of shit. I didn't have things to say the moment he walked away. I didn't have things to say when we hit recording this fucking podcast, and here we are 3 minutes later, and he's not here. But yeah, it's whatever. It's gonna be a good show though. We got some good shit to talk about. We got not a lot of major news here, but we got some fun stuff. We got we're gonna talk about some Nintendo sales figures, some PlayStation sales figures. We're gonna talk about Google Stadia closing some studios. Fucking stunner there. Mass Effect Legendary Edition. We got NCAA Football is back, baby. Then we also got some, possibly if we have time. I don't know if we're gonna have time. We're half an hour in, and we haven't even started talking about the whole point of why we're here. The news. We got Nintendo's canceling some shows. Resident Evil movie coming out September 3rd. God knows that's gonna be good. And I played Destruction All Stars. And Gables played a game that he's keeping us here. Oh, he's back. Everybody be quiet. Everybody duck around this table. I can't hear you. Your mic's muted. Did I trick you? Did you think I was really gone?
No. I was just taking my time listening to your epic rant.
Were you listening? You could hear the whole thing? You fucker. I'm like, I was just like, I don't know if you can hear me or not right now, but I feel like I did a decent job killing 4 minutes.
Yeah, so for the listeners listening in and stuff, even on Twitch, I got some new headphones, right? Because I keep losing my wired ones. And this thing has so much quality in terms of how far I am. Like, I actually heard Tyler the entire time I was in the bathroom. And I'm like, ooh. Here I am, and all of a sudden I just hear him just go spouting off about shit. I'm like, oh, well. Just holding in laughter while I'm trying to get this stuff.
God. That's funny.
Well, anyway, what's first on the agenda this week?
All right, Gables. Let's talk about some sales figures here. Let's fucking do it, doggy dog. We're going to start off with some Nintendo stuff. This is always fun. I just love how this should be a fucking requirement in video games that you should just give out exact goddamn sales figures. Like PlayStation does it because they're number one. PlayStation's always done, I guess, even when they were losing the 360, they always gave up not on video games but on consoles. But I just love how Nintendo gives us fucking to the 10th of a decimal point sales on their fucking video games, even if it's bad. They just do it.
Yeah,
It's
really.
amazing. I just wish, I'm not even trying to slurp up Nintendo here. I just love it. If Xbox did it, I would say the same fucking thing. If EA did it, I'd say the same fucking thing. Um, but the Switch is now at 79.87 million Switches sold between both consoles. There was I don't remember. I saw, I don't know where it was posted, but they had a breakdown of how many were lights and how many were regular Switches, and I can't find it. But I saw it earlier in the week, and I wish I remember what it was. But the light has done fairly well, um, all things considered. But it's now currently fifth. It's the fifth highest. Excuse me, I had a burp there. I drank too many Gables while you're gone. It is currently the fifth best-selling machine of all time for Nintendo. But the the Game Boy shit's bullshit. I hate the fact they put the color and the regular Game Boy together. Fuck off with that. Just fuck off with that. They're two separate consoles. It's fourth. It's fourth now. I'm not counting Game Boy with their 118.7, albeit impressive. Not counting them when they combine their sales together. They're two different fucking consoles. Fuck off with that. But anyways, 79.87 million sold, and I believe at this point in time, the Wii was sold less than this. It was like a couple million less, but Wii obviously way fucking hard to find at this point. And on top of that,
Yep.
the DS was also selling incredibly well at that point. So, albeit I'm not trying to bring it down, but it's incredibly impressive like how well the Switch is doing. But it's even more insane just how like we talk about like, oh man, this is like we people compare it, and we do the same thing, compare it to the Wii days, but it's like they had the fucking DS that was selling better than the other two consoles out there as well. Not better, but on par with some of those consoles at the same time. Like the DS actually better because the DS sold 154 million. And I think the PS3 sold and the 360 sold around the 70 80 million mark. So yeah, I mean it's amazing. I believe they're up I think 6 million since last quarter. This is as of December 31st, 2020. And then also I always hate how when news articles put out like the figures, they always separated by articles. So I had to go find
Right.
a different article that broke down also individual sales of video games as well. So this is the top 10 I'm going to run through of the top 10 selling Switch games as of December 31st. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is at 9.82 million. Splatoon 2 at 11.9. Pokemon Let's Go games are 13. Super Mario Party at 13.82. Super Mario Odyssey at 20.23. Pokemon Sword and Shield at 20.3. Breath of the Wild at 21.45. Smash Bros. Ultimate at 22.8. Animal Crossing New Horizons 31.18. And Mario Kart 8 Deluxe 33.41. That is stunning. I think the PS4, as well as it sold over 100, I think it's 100 over 120 million at this point, has only I think
Right.
only has one. Spider-Man is the only game that's sold over 20 million for them. The Xbox didn't
Yeah.
even sniff that. And obviously, with Game Pass, that's going to change everything, but never came close to anything like that. And if they did, they would. I mean, they would have said something, but they never released any numbers on their games. Um, yeah, I mean, just more of the same of like just the Switch is just absolutely killing it. If anybody has, just trying to find bright sides in the last, in 2020, if just like if anybody's profited the most in gaming, I don't know who's done it more than Nintendo. And I mean, not even on just the way with Animal Crossing when it came out, the basically the week after the pandemic hit and the lockdown happened, Animal Crossing was there, But
Yeah.
what's your thoughts on this, Gables?
To be to be honest with you, I think it's rather amazing that there's so much time that has changed since those Wii DS days. Whenever it comes to their Switch game sales, especially for like a lot of the main first party ones, I kind of measured them like how many units they've sold, like say inside the entirety of the Wii U console itself. So it's like you have multiple games that are like over 13 million, obviously, and that's just one game. Like on other platforms, hell, other platforms if their exclusives are selling like what Nintendo's are doing, we'd be freaking just like just balls to the wall, just like plastered these games, as being excellent, this and that. It's like even despite having, say, like not so many first party releases Nintendo did over the last year or so, a year and a half. The ones that have released have sold so well.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing with the whole COVID stuff, I mean, yeah, that's understandable. However, it's fairly impressive that the Nintendo Switch is actually on par or even out actually past like 3DS's sales, I want to
Yeah,
say,
they just passed
or
through.
getting close to the lifetime.
They just
Yeah,
passed that. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, they're like, I think it's just passed it by like a million. But I mean,
and it's
yeah.
past it like with almost 5 years on the market,
Mm.
whereas the 3DS in its whole entirety was like from 2011 to 2020. That is crazy, in my honest opinion. And the strong sales of its first party games are more or less akin to that. Honestly, now it's more or less not just how well Nintendo is doing with what they're doing, like for Switch wise. That system is still selling like hotcakes, but yet you're now looking at a system that has, before everything's all said and done, could be eclipsing or getting close to the numbers of what the PS4 sold in its entire life. Maybe not outselling it, but I'm saying like being close enough to where, that system in and of itself could very much gain those type of numbers considering how many units that thing sold, whether or not if there's actually credence to a Switch Pro coming out either this year, next year, or whatsoever. But I think it's really awesome in regards to how Nintendo has been performing in terms of not only just their console sales, not just the significance of their console sales, but it shows you that people are buying their consoles and stuff. They are purposely buying it for a good handful of the quality games that they're releasing. It also goes to show you that strong first party games sell Switch, they sell gaming systems.
Yeah.
That's always been the case, no matter what console. I mean, hell, if Xbox had that type of if like Microsoft had that sort of solidification with their exclusives to that extent, which they're gradually working towards, trying to get as many exclusive first party stuff going through. If they had it as strong as Nintendo's, I mean, this would be almost like a different story than what's going on right now. But Sony definitely does have their strong first party games, though they're spaced every few and far between, either for COVID or because of other types of work related stuff they're trying to gauge into. But it's clear to me what the people want. They want to play something, more friendly, maybe more family friendly, more just accessible in that regards. And you know what? The Switch is scratching that itch for a lot of people right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I was kind of skimming through an article here. I found some more stuff on it. So 7.3 million of those sales are Switch Lights. So just
Wow.
over a year. I think it came out last September 2019, I should say. So 7.3 million of those are lights. Um, so they have also broken down here in the last 9 months here, because fiscal year for Nintendo is April 1st to March 31st. So this fiscal year, the newer games that have released, Mario 3D All Stars has sold 8.32 million. Paper Mario Origami King is over 3 million. Pikmin 3 Deluxe at 1.94. It's the highest selling Pikmin game of all time. Which is kind of, I mean, I'm not a huge Pikmin fan, but kind of disappointing that it's with immediately was the highest selling Pikmin game of all time and hasn't even hit 2 million. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit is just over a million, 1.08, and Ring Fit Adventure has now sold just under 6 million, 5.95, but it's now at 8.68 million sold over its lifetime. So, I mean, that game came out 2019, and I mean there was a little bit of an audience there, but it didn't. No one really cared. And then obviously, I mean, we've talked about before and about how that game was like selling for 4 or 5 times the value of it on eBay because no one could find it. Um, Also, I want to point out, I was kind of scrolling through here. I found like the top 10, the top selling list all time so far for Switch. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is at 3.5 million as well. That came out
Okay.
November 20th. So 6 weeks on the market. I mean, which they said that I think that first weekend it sold over 3 million, or it was at right around
Wow.
3 million that first weekend. So, I mean, doing super well. I mean, it's just more the same. It's just a matter of, like, yeah, you said, the last year and a half, the last big game outside of Animal Crossing, the last big game we've gotten from them is Pokemon Sword and Shield, and that was November 2019 game. And they've still, like Paper
Yep.
Mario and stuff like that. They've have those solid middle tier, lower tier games for them, but it's just it's just a matter of time. We were talking about a few weeks ago about predictions because there's a lot of anniversaries this year, so you got to imagine that Pokemon and Zelda, we're gonna have some game. We're gonna have that Zelda collection of some sort, or at least the HD remakes from Wii U are gonna come over, or stuff like that. So I imagine we'll probably get a new Pokemon game this year. So and maybe
It's a safe bet.
yeah,
It's a safe bet that we're going to get more first party stuff from Nintendo this year as opposed to the last year and a half.
yeah, oh yeah. I think we'll. I mean, they're not hurting. They are surviving very well off of their first party stuff. So they don't have to. But yeah, hopefully for my kids, I love when I play my Switch. I just wish could play more often. Um, but sticking with sales figures, Sony or PlayStation came out here with their some of their stuff from their financials. The PS5 has sold over 4.5 million units in the first
Mm.
came out November 12th. So what, 7 weeks on the market? Their biggest launch ever. But I always hate that shit when it's like Xbox did the same thing. Nintendo, they all do it. EA, all of them, Call of Duty. Every time there's a new big game come out, it's always the biggest selling ever. It's just, especially with consoles, it's dumb because if they would have released, they would have like 20 million out there, they would have sold them. Doesn't really matter what it is, but anyways, it's 4.5 million sold as of December 31st. They're having, I think, one of their best years yet as far as revenue goes. Um, they also said that like kind of the one big thing that came out of it was that was it here? Oh, 87% of PS5 users were subscribers to PlayStation Plus, which I thought was kind of cool. And 4.1 million copies of Miles Morales were sold as well, albeit it is a PS4 game as well. We almost had a situation there like we did with Breath of the Wild when it came out, where Breath of the Wild sold more copies than Switches were sold that first like 6 months. The Switch was on market because it was also
That
on
was
Wii U,
crazy.
and I thought it would have been funny if we would have had a kind of that same situation there. But you know, I guess PlayStation and Sony are very happy with that number. I'm a little disappointed with it. I mean, I was hoping more from I was hoping not disappointed, but a little bummed 'cause I thought it'd be higher because Spider-Man is their greatest selling PlayStation exclusive ever. And this is, I know it's not a full sequel and I know it's not Spider-Man, but I think in a lot of ways Miles Morales is a better game, and but it had it came out launch, came out in November instead of I think Spider-Man came out in early. I remember it came out Labor Day weekend, so different time frame. You got two consoles launching, also mid-November when all the other big games are launching, so maybe it had something to do with it. But I hope it keeps doing well because I fucking adore Miles Morales. I think it was like number 4 this year or last year for my games of the year list. So, but yeah, PlayStation continuing to kill it, and they also mentioned that they're having issues with the semiconductor, as like getting that's the main issue is they can't get enough of them. That's what the main issue of the bottleneck of getting more PS5s on the market, and they said that's going to be an issue continuing on um, till summer, which Xbox did the same thing. That it's going to be a summertime thing before they can at the earliest where they can start actually getting more um, consoles out there on like a regular basis. So no real surprise as far as like it's gonna be hard to find these consoles. That's just something we go through pretty much every time a console's released. But yeah, kind of a bummer because it's um, I mean, I want more people to have that, and I think that's part of the reason why. I think COVID and just delays in general are reasons why. But I think that I wouldn't be shocked to find out if like games like Ratchet and Clank, which is supposed to be a launch window game, which we've heard nothing about since the PlayStation event in like in September. Like we've seen like little they've been in like clip shows, but we haven't got any more news on it since then. And
Sure.
I'm just like maybe part of the reason why they're not releasing it or having any like a release date. Same with Gran Turismo as well. It's like maybe part of the reason why we're not getting more information out there is there might legitimately be some issues and maybe it needs a small delay, but also I would bet they're like, well, let's just wait to release this game until it gives me PS5s out into the wild as we can. So I think that's part of. I think that wouldn't be shocked if that's also part of the reason. What about you, Gables? What's your thoughts on this news?
To be perfectly honest with you, in terms of say like the PlayStation sellers, in terms of like say Spider-Man Miles Morales and stuff, I kind of wonder. Well, not kind of wonder. I suspect that the decreased sales of that game probably is due to the fact that it's cross-gen between PS4 and PS5. I think we are still in this kind of weird period with the PS4 and the PS5 where not probably not a hell of a lot of people own the PS5 right now. I mean, because of varying
Yeah.
circumstances. Meaning, it's like you got things that are cut between the PS4 and the PS5 version of that stuff, in my honest opinion. So I think that people are probably looking at that as like, okay, well, let's just get the old version that I got since I don't have the PS5, and hell, it has even the upgrade thing to PS5 since I bought the PS4 version and stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see other exclusives that are cross-gen with PS4, see if they actually are going to be selling decently for just say the PS5 version of it. Because we've seen it before, in terms of cross-gen games, how sometimes it will affect sales of like the newer version of it as compared to the older one,
Mm.
because a lot more people have the older system, have a larger install base, grab that, and usually wait maybe about a year or two before investing in sort of a next generation system. But let's see how, like, say, copies, like, say, especially first party exclusive for PlayStation perform when it's just PS5 only in that regards, which I'm not sure how long is that. Well, actually, no, it's going to be like until, say, Returnal, I would think, comes out. I want to see how well that does initially when it does come out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty much what I think. I think it has something to do with the cross gen stuff for some of the sales for PlayStation stuff.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait and see. Hopefully, we get some stuff worked out here soon. But, just talking about the summertime and hope more consoles be out there. Late spring is getting kind of crazy here too, Gables. So,
All right.
Mass Effect Legendary Edition, finally got a release date for that. And there was a bunch of so like I guess they did like a gameplay thing with some big influencers and people um in the media and stuff like that. Uh, on Monday or something like that. And on Monday, and then on Tuesday released the trailer and with the release date and some side shots there between. But we didn't really get any gameplay. But excuse me, it's coming out May 14th. It's coming to PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. But you can play it with the new consoles and stuff. Obviously, and there'll be minor improvements, I'm sure. But they kind of talked about some of the things coming out of it here. So it's a remaster. It's not a remake, obviously. Um, it still runs in Mass Effect 1 still runs in Unreal 3, but BioWare spruced up the engine as much as they could. BioWare focused on the development on the PS4 and Xbox One. Like I just said, it runs backwards compatible. All of the multiplayer for the games all the DLC is there for the first three games, but the Mass Effect 3 gameplay or the multiplayer is not there, which kind of sucks, but I'm okay with that. Except for one piece of DLC which is missing, which is there was a DLC that came out for the first game. It's called Pinnacle Station, and it was actually the only part of the DLC that all their DLC that wasn't made by them that
Huh.
came out. And I guess the people that made it, the original code for it was corrupted. So they said that
Ooh.
they could have gotten in the game, but it would take us 6 months. But all it is basically like kind of like it's just like almost like a horde mode type of thing where it's just like clear this room of bad guys. I remember when it came out, it was just like it was a nothing DLC that came out for it. So it's probably of all the Mass Effect content, it's the least consequential of all of the content for it. So we're not missing anything with that.
Okay.
But they said they could have done it, but it would take them 6 months to do it, which to rebuild that from the ground up. But it's like for that.
Eh.
I mean, if it was like the Shadow Broker DLC or the Crucible DLC or any like that's something that's still to this day some their DLC, not all of it, like, but some of those are some of the best DLC that we've ever been put out for a game ever. Because most DLC that comes out, it's like a 2-3 hour thing that was just cut out of the game that probably should have just been in the fucking game. But it's like that deal. Some of that DLC came out years later and was fantastic. Um, so yeah, so that's the only thing that's missing from it. They focused on improving the visuals and gameplay instead of remixing the story and characters. So they didn't touch anything with the story, which is great. They a lot of the work was on Mass Effect 1 because I mean even when Mass Effect 1 came out, that game didn't wasn't the most fun to play game. It was like that game was primary like that was held up by its world and its story and its characters. But I mean, it wasn't
Right.
terrible. But I mean, that game wasn't great then, and it's certainly wouldn't be great now. I'm sure it doesn't age very well. I haven't played it since probably 2012. I want to say though, but I still adore it just because I adore Mass Effect. But I'm happy that they worked on that. Um, yeah, so a lot of details. We haven't really seen a lot of gameplay. We just like I said, we've seen some screenshots. And there's that the trailer they showed, but they didn't really show a lot of um, like there was like little cuts in there, but there was no actual like gameplay. People are saying that the game looks a lot better, runs a lot better. The action from Mass Effect One looks better, and they also said that they redid a lot of the stuff in the Mako. For people that don't know, in the
Hmm.
first game, the
Okay.
Mako was the controls in the Mako. The ship that you drive was the tank that you drive was awful. They were terrible. And they also said that the elevators in Mass Effect One, which back in the day were like there was a hidden like loading screen. I mean, everybody that was like the Mako and the elevators were the two things everybody bitched about stop because they were so bad. It was the they said that
Yep.
the so the average elevator ride in Mass Effect 1 was 52 seconds in the original game, and in the legendary edition it's now 14 seconds. So
Oh.
massive improvement there. What 3-4 times better. So that's awesome. But yeah, uh, I watched trailer. Gables, I know you watched trailer and you've read into it. What's your thoughts on this Mass Effect Legendary Edition?
From observing the trailer, it looks like it's going to be a interesting remaster attempt, by BioWare. I'm really interested in seeing what aspects have been improved. I've already heard little bits of scuttlebutt here and there in regards to stuff that has been edited in that regards. I don't know the entirety of whatever, but there is something that's like edited out from like Mass Effect 2 in regards to Miranda, which is her
But
introductory kind of like cutscene with her ass
yeah,
pretty much in full view. But
you
at the
I made
same
the joke. I'm
point,
sorry to cut you off, but I made the joke earlier about how Kojima should direct the stuff with Lady D and Resident Evil 8. If you watch some
mm,
of those old cutscenes in Mass Effect 2 with Miranda and all the shots of her ass in that game, you would have thought Kojima directed that fucking game. Those cuts, just Miranda's parts alone, you would have thought that was her. But sorry, go on.
yeah, I understand back in the day, I mean, she was considered to be like the perfect
Yeah,
like human being in that regards. But I'm not really too critical of like the whole edits about it. I mean, even back in the day, I obviously am a guy, and I do like that that was like the center point in that regards. But at the same point, I can understand if they want to just
yeah,
go through and edit that, as long as it's not something edited stupidly and like affects the quality of the game overall somewhere else. I mean, if they're just editing like the initial cutscene of Miranda and just like her ass like in full view and stuff like that, it's not that big of a deal for me.
yeah,
I know I don't like a lot of censorship and stuff like that, but if you go through and make certain aspects, certain edits and stuff like that, where it's like maybe like just small, nothing that's going to affect the story of the thing for the negative or affect like character interpretations to some way, in some way, shape, or form, you know, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem, in terms of like say just minor stuff, but overall, I am interested in seeing how this remaster performs when it does release. I believe it was like what, May 7th,
May 14th.
was it? May 14th. Okay, so it's in mid-May that we will get this remaster. I'm interested, obviously, in seeing how well the original Mass Effect plays. I haven't played through that game in a while. PlayStation 3, when that version came out, after the exclusivity deal like ended with Microsoft for the original, I played through that game. I think that was the last time I played through that game was on the PlayStation 3. On my I have the first three games that I recently rebought as early as 2019, but I'm willing to play through that entire trilogy again. I mean, quite honestly, that's something I've been wanting to do for a long while. Is play through that trilogy from beginning to end, from one to through three, and have my same character go throughout that because I never did that back in the day. I switched consoles. I had the 360 where I played through Mass Effect 1 and 2, and then for the PlayStation 3, when I got rid of the 360 and all that other stuff, I started from 2 and then 3. and then one came out later. But yeah, that's. I'm just looking forward to seeing if it just is a faithful and good remaster.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. Where it's like that's that's all I want is just to replay this. It's I always we always I've heard that we've talked about it before in older podcasts, and like I've heard other people talk about it too. Like they ask that question of like you can have the little bright light thing from Men in Black where they erase your memory, and it's like if you can erase your memory of like one movie or a video game or blah 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 and watch it over again or replay it over again. The Mass Effect trilogy, I know it's not one game, but it's a trilogy. But if like that's one thing I love to just erase my memory on and replay the whole thing again because it's one of the greatest franchises of all time to me, and it's unfortunate because the end with three, which wasn't fantastic, but I didn't hate it as much as other people did, and then with Andromeda, and just where Bioware has been this last generation, has been disappointing. But like it's when I watched the trailer they put out the other day with the music kicked in and all that, it's just like I got like literal like goosebumps and like chills, and like I was just like I forgot how much this franchise and those three games meant to me, and
Mm,
just how much I adored those games. It's like I can't. It's just like like all those feelings like rush back into me, or like flooded me again. Where it's just like I forgot how great. It's kind of like the same thing where it's like the only thing I can put it to like especially in gaming wise is like whenever I like I'll get nostalgic and I'll like go back and watch some like Metal Gear stuff, and like I'll hear the music from Metal Gear Solid, and especially like 4 and Snake Eater from 3. When I hear that, it's just like, oh my god! It's like it hits me like it's like not there's not very many things like in entertainment and media that can that hit me like like Mass Effect and just the music alone just like hit me and like I see just watch that trailer. I've watched it 3 times now. Where I'm just like it's a 2 minute trailer. It's not like I'm huge investment here, but it's like I've gone back and watched it multiple times just because like all the feelings and memories and emotions like just flood back to me. And I'm like, there's so much shit I've like, I always think I always look back fondly about Mass Effect, but I don't really think about Mass Effect like the things I love about it and like how deep it is. And like I started thinking about all those characters and moments I had, like Garrus and with Ashley and fucking Caden, which whatever I was killing in the game, and but like Jack and all those like it's like oh man, and Miranda's ass, it's just it's incredible. But it's just I I can't wait. It's just the fanboy in me, and this is coming out. And it's just like I've been kind of like in that. I go through this at this time every year. And I've talked about it on podcasts before. I probably talk about it this time every year. Where it's like I've been kind of that gaming slump where it's just like I don't have anything to play because like the holidays are over, and I'll try to play games and just nothing's clicking for me. It's just like I don't like it's just. And when I'm like it's not working, and I'm like it's well, I don't even want to play Madden that much right now. It's just like I don't know. It's just that time. I think it's just I go through this every year, beginning of the year excuse me, in January, February, where it's just like not a lot's coming out, and it's like I'm playing either older stuff or that I missed out on, or just I'm not really feeling, I'm not really invested in anything. So it's just like I've been in that slump right now. I'm just like fuck, man. It's like I would love to sit down and play a game and like, but it's just like nothing's clicking for me right now. And I was hoping like there was that March 12th leak we had a few weeks ago for this, and I was like, fuck yeah, perfect timing. There's nothing coming out really outside of Mario 3D World next week that I'm looking
right.
forward to. Really in the first quarter, outside of It Takes Two, which is going to be a short game that we'll plow through in a weekend probably. Um, but now it's coming out in May, which I was looking at. It's kind of a crazy stretch here where we're gonna have. So I want to go through this real fast. So I got dates pulled up here. So Near Replicant, I know it's not gonna be a big game, but there's a I'm looking forward to it. And I'm hopeful for it. And there's a audience behind this. It's coming out April 23rd. New Pokemon Snap and Return will come out April 30th now. Uh, Resident Evil 8 comes out May 7th. Then we got Hoods. It's that Assassin's Creed multiplayer game that's got some buzz around it. It's coming out May 10th. Mass Effect Legendary Edition, like we were just talking about, May 14th. Deathloop, the Bethesda game, that's from the Dishonored guys, May 21st. Biomutant on May 25th. So a good stretch there, and then Back for Blood, I think is it early June, May 20, or June 22nd. So it's out there. So we go from like not a lot of games to play. The first like basically literally the first 4 months of the year we have pretty much nothing. Oh, and I think Far Cry 6 is a May game as well. I'm not sure, but yeah, we have like basically nothing the first 4 months. Like, we're getting PS5, we're getting next gen upgrades, updates, uh, and Mario the first 4 months, and then April 30th hits, and it's just onslaught of games for like a month,
Yeah.
for 4 or 5 weeks straight. So yeah, it's gonna come. But I'm happy with the order that we're, as much as I play Mass Effect now, like I'm happy it's the last of those big games for me personally. Outside Deathloop, who knows how Deathloop's gonna turn out. I'm hopeful for that game, but I'm waiting to see what people say about it. But I'm happy that's at the end, because it means I can get through these other games, and then when Mass Effect comes out, I can just focus on that. Instead, the other way around, where Mass Effect comes out and then Pokemon Snap, Returnal, and Resident Evil 8 all come out, and yeah, but yeah, I'm so pumped for that game. It's just I can't wait to see what see the gameplay for Mass Effect 1. That's the thing I want to see the most. And I'm wondering, like, we're a few months out. Why are we not seeing more gameplay for this? But moving on to some other EA news here, Gables. NCAA football is back. And uh, I'm a huge fucking NCAA football fan. I mean, everybody knows, if you've listened to the show, I'm a giant Madden fan. I put hundreds of hours into Madden every year. Buy it day one, all that. Um, so EA came out this week and said that they're going to start making the NCAA football games. They stopped making it in 2013. NCAA 14 was the last one to come out, and then like early that next year, in early 2014, they said that they're going to stop making, because there was that lawsuit that happened, where, rightfully so, one of the player from like the 90s, is a I can't remember his name, but he was a basketball player for UCLA in the 90s. He went to go play the college basketball game with his son. I remember his story on, like, it was like ESPN or 60 Minutes, something like that. And he was talking about, like, he went and played the game. He went to go play at UCLA because that was his alma mater, and they had like the all UCLA team, so it was all the best players, basically like the super team of UCLA. Like all the teams had it. Where like there's like, but it was like they couldn't legally put the players' names in the game. They couldn't. But
No.
that was a big thing with all college games, video games. 2K did it, EA did it, but there's like, oh, we can't call you your name, but we're gonna make this character look just like you, and he's gonna have the same jersey number as you, but he's not you. It's like number 15 for Florida is not, yeah, we all know that's Tim Tebow in real life, but he's number
Right.
15 in the game, but he looks just like Tim Tebow and all that, but he's not Tim Tebow, and it's because because legally we can't pay him to be in this game. We can't use his likeness, and that was a big thing. And he saw that, and the class action lawsuit happened. I think they ended up getting like $50 million out of NCAA for it.
Wow.
A bunch of players, not just one guy, but a bunch of players did, and rightfully so, because basically, it's bullshit. NCAA is a bullshit, rigged organization. It's fucked up that they don't let these they make, and just not just NCAA but college in general. Where like, you get a tuition where college degrees mean less now than ever before, unless you're going to school to be a doctor or something like that, or an engineer
Right.
or a scientist. College degrees don't fucking matter for the most part. Most people don't use their college degrees after college.
That's very
But
true.
yeah, but anyways, like Reggie Bush, who was a fantastic, one of the greatest running backs we've ever seen for in college football history. Won a Heisman, all that. He was number 5 for USC. I mean, to this day, I've never seen anything like him in college. And his jersey, they would just sell a jersey, a USC jersey that was number 5 on it, and it sold. They made tens of millions of dollars selling this jersey. They didn't have his name on it, but everybody bought it because they knew number 5 was Reggie Bush, and but
Mm-hmm.
he never got a dime of that. And they took his Heisman away, which is the greatest thing as a sports athlete you can get. Only 80 people have that trophy, and they took it away from him and they took his name, all of his records, everything he's ever done. He's not. It's all ripped out of the record books, and we know,
Right.
we saw with our own eyes. NCAA does not recognize him as a college athlete because because a booster bought his family a house. It's like it was $100,000 house, which is $100,000 house in LA, which ain't shit in LA.
Right.
And they bought him a fucking house. It's like, this is the organization that says you can't buy this guy lunch. You can't give him a ride to. You can't even just give him a ride to practice. Oh, he's standing outside and it's negative 20 degrees outside in a snowstorm. He's waiting for the bus, and the coach drives by and sees him there. Legally can't. You got to take the bus, buddy. Sorry, can't give you a ride. Meanwhile, I'm making $10 million a
Wow.
year. So I can give you a English muffin, but you can only have butter on it. Can't have jelly. That's an actual rule in the NCAA rule book. Um, just shit like that. And it's the most twisted, fucked up not the most twisted, but it's a fucked up organization that uses breaks the backs of 18 to 22 year olds and gives them a fucked up warped world, and then just shits them out when they're done making millions of dollars off of them, and then they don't know what the fuck to do when they get out of this fucked up world that they're in. But anyways, I'm going on right here about NCAA. But basically, they EA stopped making it because they had the exclusive license in NCAA football, and then basically everybody the 2K same thing, stopped making college games, basketball and football, just because all this lawsuit. And then basically, so what's going to happen now is what they're going to do is, so this game is going to be 2022, 2023 at the very earliest. But what's going to happen out of this is that instead of them making number 5 is he looks and has all the same attributes, and he as Reggie Bush, but he's not Reggie Bush in the game, but he's number 5. So wink wink. But it's all going to be generated random names, custom whatever. So like they're not going to look like the guy, the starting quarterback for Ohio State. He might be a 6'6". It might be Justin Fields right now, a 6'4" black guy. But when you boot your game up, he might be a 5'9" white dude. You never know. So it's all gonna be random. Jersey numbers, what they look like, attributes, all gonna be completely random. That's their plan as of right now. But there's a lot of lawsuits going on with the NCAA. Things are changing. Like they've been slowly, surely, things were breaking down for the NCAA. That wall they've been building. People have been taking away bricks slowly but surely. So yeah, it's just a matter of time before things change for them. Yeah. So who knows? They said that they're gonna be able to adjust, because this guy said this game's 2-3 years away, so they're gonna be able to adjust accordingly as of right now. So hopefully they can pay these players. I hope so, because I love NCAA football. Selfishly, I've wanted this game back for almost a decade now, and it'd be even better if they can actually pay the players some fucking money for selling their game and making millions of
Right.
dollars off their fucking game. But go on, Gables. What's your thoughts on all this?
I'm happy that NCAA football is coming back. Honestly, the last time I actually played an NCAA football game was back on the PS2. I think with Matt Leinart as the cover athlete, actually, in USC,
That was Carson Palmer.
actually. Oh, Carson Palmer.
Yeah,
Okay.
Vince Young
Oh
was the
well.
cover athlete that year. Oh, no, Reggie Bush was. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
oh, Reggie Bush was.
Yeah.
But yeah, the I remember playing an NCAA football game on PS2, and I remember it being like I think it was either Reggie Bush or someone else being on the cover. I played that game and stuff like that because my brother had it, pretty much. So we played a little bit back and forth. But other than that, yeah, I'm very excited that the people that have been clamoring for another NCAA football game are finally going to get their NCAA football game that they've wanted now for the past 7 years. And obviously, not a lot of people are going to be hoarding to the PS3 version of
Yeah.
NCAA 2014.
Yeah. I mean, I actually have friends in real life that keep their 360 plugged in. Multiple people I know keep their 360 plugged in so they can play NCAA Football 14 on it, because
Oh
it's
my
not backwards
god.
compatible with Xbox One.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, I'm pumped for it, because I like NCAA games more than the Madden games, honestly. Yeah, can't wait. Moving on here. So it'll probably be our last topic here. So Google
Okay.
Stadia is closing both of their studios they had making games, making first party games for their Stadia device. So Stadia came out in late 2019. It was $130. They hired Jade Raymond, who was like a producer. She was one of the lead people on the first Assassin's Creed games. Excuse me, but she actually left EA to go help run these studio for Stadia. They announced that they're closing it. Both studios, about 150 employees. They said they're working on getting all of them jobs within Google, so hopefully they don't lose their jobs. But
Okay.
the plan isn't like they're gonna just shut down Stadia. But the big thing that they had was they're working on these first party games, and They had one in Montreal, one in Los Angeles. Um, they're not going to shut down these studios, but they're hoping to get better third-party support. But those first-party studios that they had started and built were, they were going to kind of help. Obviously, you need first-party games for these fucking things, and now that's not going to happen. So I don't know, Giles. What's your thoughts when you hear all this shit happening?
When I heard that news break earlier on last week, first thing I thought about is, yeah, well, Google Stadia is going to be not long for this world because you need first party exclusive games in order for you to sell your systems. It doesn't matter whether it's the Switch, the PS4, the Xbox One, first party exclusive games do matter. And with Google pretty much going through closing down these first party studios and stuff, that's the kiss of death for a gaming system. Because honestly, any gamer can go and see the third party content on another device and probably do it better than what you currently have available. If people wanted to stream their piece, like they wanted to stream their Stadia games or something like that, why stream it through there where they can just go onto Steam, download it, and play it on there, or play it on their PS4 or wherever? But it's definitely telling that throughout teen heading towards now, it was heavily advertised. There was a lot of setbacks for Google Stadia when it launched and stuff. Some of the latency of some of the third-party content wasn't as great. And then we most recently had that promotion and stuff where if you were like a YouTube like Plus subscriber or whatsoever, you had that offer to where you can get like a free Google Stadia. Which honestly, if you're even offering your gaming console at this point with barely even 2 years in the market for free, then yeah, you probably are in some form of trouble. But
Yeah, and it's not even barely 2 years on the market. It came out last October,
last October, so yeah,
so
not even two
just
years.
over a not just over a year, 14 months, and they've already 15 months. They've already stopped
Obviously, there's comparisons between this and the Ouya. There's comparisons between like other systems as
on
well.
live.
On Live, that was one of the most infamous ones. But this is also another case of Google diving into a market, but because they have so many funds, so much funds from what they're making, they could easily just say, okay, we're not going to go through, cut this off and stuff, and then redo something else. I mean, that's also a case in point issue as well. But if Google Stadia goes through and ends like that actual service in the next 6 months or so, I wouldn't be too surprised.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's kind of sad to think about it, but at the same time, that console I kind of felt was going to be doomed from the start.
Yeah, yeah, and it's one of these situations where I think we all kind of guessed it and kind of see it coming, but we're not happy to be right about it. Situations like we all would have loved to been wrong, um, but it's just, I mean, we've seen so many different people and different organizations and companies try to get into the gaming atmosphere. And it's not just gaming; it's hard to get in any atmosphere. I mean, you look at Microsoft with the Zune. Like you would have thought, like if anybody could have gotten there and been competitive with Apple and the iPod, it would have been Microsoft, and that the Zune fucking flopped. It's not easy for anybody to do, and it's disappointing. Like and that was the big thing with Google going into it was like we've seen Google so many times they have a reputation behind them where it's like if something doesn't work out right away, they just cut bait and run. You look at Google
Yep.
Plus, you look at Google Glass. That's what they do. If things aren't like they're not making a bunch of money or if things aren't going the way I thought they were, like fucking that, they're done. Um, and it's just that's what we all talked about was I think it's happened faster than we thought. We're talking 14 months into the device and you've already stopped developing games. Who knows how maybe there's issues with those games, who knows, but it's just like if you're really serious about this thing, it's just like why would you shut it down now or why just change
Exactly.
things, refocus on things. And I thought it was that so a former Stadia tech came out. He doesn't work for the company anymore. He left before all this, but he said uh, Google was a terrible place to make games. Imagine Amazon but under resourced. That's the
Oof.
big quote coming out of it. So it's just like
Ooh.
Google's coming out with Amazon Luna, or it's been doing it. You look at Microsoft with their X Cloud. It's just like they came out. They try to charge $130 plus a $10 monthly fee on top of this for early access, basically for early access, where this thing should have came out and just been free and come out. It's like it doesn't even work on majority of Google's devices, but yet you want to charge people for this to use this device, and it's
Right.
stunning. And it's just like you look at like Microsoft, where it's like XCloud was in beta forever, and then now it's out for the most part now, and it's like you can play it on iPhone. You can play, well, not iPhone, but well, you can play it on iPhone, but you got to do a workaround. But it's on when it finally started coming out. You can play it now. It's like it'd been in beta basically for over a year, and now it's starting to come out, and it's now we're I mean it's not blowing up anybody. It's not blowing up. I mean it's not we're not talking about this is like I think this is the future of gaming, but it's not like taking over right now. It's not
No.
blowing up like an iTunes did 20 years ago or 15 years ago with turning music digitally or where Netflix is. It's not like we're not there yet, but we're getting there. And I think it's only a matter of time. I think I wouldn't be shocked if the PlayStation 6 or 7 or the next Xbox or the Xbox after that is just an app you download, which I don't know if
Right.
I'd be too upset about that idea. Like I know like I love the idea of like still buying physical media here and there, but it's like I don't know, it'd be fine. Like where I've had my TV up here on the wall, and I had to like when I put the, go put it on the wall, it's like I had to like keep in mind like I had to look up the measurements of like how tall PS5 was, so I can like and I had to
The
make sure it
TV
was tall
stand.
enough because if I would have put it up the way they recommend it, which was like 12 inches, it would like my PS5 would have been there 5 inches over it. And I've been cutting off my fucking TV forever. It drove me fucking nuts. But it's I don't know. I mean, but I think it's features, just the feature of where everything is now, where it's like most people rent and Redbox is going out. It isn't doing as well as it used to. Fucking
Mm.
Blockbuster, all the shit's gone because of digital streaming and all that. And it's just streaming is the future. And we know that, and it's eventually it's gonna go that way. It's like why shit like GameStop is slowly fading out of existence. But you need like it's just like any other device. You need to have first party, and we just talked about Nintendo at the beginning of this podcast after we talked about Lady D for an hour, and her 42-inch heels, and Home Alone. Uh, but it's like Nintendo. Let's face it, the Switch. It's basically it's got great. It's doing the indie games are doing great, but let's
Hmm.
face it, the thing that's doing great on that thing is the fact that well, it's handheld, but also the first party games. That's what's keeping keeping that thing going in the way it's selling the way it is because of first party. You look at PlayStation when I think when the PlayStation 1 launched, it was it had great first party games that kept it going and kind of made it serious. Xbox, the original Xbox, Halo. Do I need to say more than that? Halo. And so this thing came out, charging you $130 for essentially a controller, trying to charge you another $10 a month on top of that, to pay full price for games that are 20, $15 you can find for a fraction of the price elsewhere. And it's like the games that you're offering in your service for $10, $15 a month are, I mean, there's some good games in there, but they're not like games that are gonna fucking make anybody run out and go get the thing to save that money. It's like I'd rather pay $15 for it on my PlayStation that I have already than go and get this Google Stadia and spend $10 one month to play it on there. It's like it's like this. You look at Amazon Luna coming out, and it's like it's basically doing the Game Pass sort of thing, where it's you just you get Amazon Luna for free, and then you pay a subscription fee every month. If you want to pay that, you pay it. You don't have to. There's no barrier to get in, and then also you got to pay this monthly fee later on. And I know there was like Google was making so you didn't have to eventually play or pay $130 for a device. You could just play it anywhere, but it's just by that time it was just too late. Like you had to come out rocking it. You couldn't fix it later. Like you look at it's very hard for anything to come out bad and fix it later. That's
Right.
like that's not a video game. Just like we've seen video games turn around, but like as a device, you look at Xbox One. They fucked up the E3 press conference. Never really turned. I mean, it did well and it was fine. They did some cool shit at the end, but never really could erase that. Remember, when we talk about Xbox One, we're always going to talk about that fucking E3. You look
Hmm.
at the Wii U came out. Is a Wii U an attachment? Is that or is it the next console? And it's like when it came out, New Super Mario Brothers, which is a franchise that's I mean it's Mario, but it's not. It's like bottom tier Mario. Let's face it. Like as far as like where people are with that franchise, and it had Zombie U as it came out, and people didn't understand what the fuck it was. It was expensive for a Nintendo console, and there wasn't like that big thing to come out and make people go out and buy it. And then look what happened. The Wii U, albeit we love the console. There's some great games that came on it. Obviously shown as Mario Kart 8, a Wii U game, is sold over 33 million copies. But
Right.
it's just like it's hard to erase that first impression, and especially when you're a brand new platform. You can't fuck up. You got to come out. You got to rock it. And on top of that, you're fighting yourself because you are known for just cutting bait early, and it's sad and it's frustrating, and it's just like I didn't want Google Stadia to go this way. I wanted it to do well. I want more competition is better. It's like that's what we always talk about. It's like Nintendo's fucking killing it. PlayStation's been killing it. Xbox has been doing some great shit. They obviously they're on the way up, but we always talk about they need more games, first party games, all that blah blah blah. We know that, but we always talk about like Game Pass. They've been doing all these awesome fucking things. It's like we want all three things to be doing well. We want competition because competition between themselves, all three succeeding, is only better for us as gamers because we're gonna get better quality, we're gonna get better prices. Maybe not better prices, but we're gonna get things will be better for us in the end. When there's more competition,
Right.
and adding Google in there, that with against Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, that would and they came out rocking it, and they got Amazon coming out there and they start fucking lighting the fire up their ass like God knows what would happen. It'd only be good stuff, only good shit for us. So yeah, I don't know. Disappointing, but we'll see what the future is for them. But I wouldn't be. I don't think I would be shocked if at the end of 2022, Stadia is even a thing. If by the end of 2022 we don't have like, hey, Google Stadia goes offline some at some point in 2023, I'd be shocked. But yeah, moving on here, we're running a little long here, so we're gonna get into what we've been playing this week. I'm gonna go real fast because mine's only gonna take a couple minutes here, Gables.
You got
I've
it.
only I've jumped into like I said, I'm in that gaming funk right now, but I jumped to a new game. Came out. It's actually the second PS5 exclusive game that's out right now, outside of Demon Souls. Is Destruction All Stars.
Hmm.
It's a PS Plus game. We talked about a couple weeks ago about the PS Plus games that were revealed, and this is one of them. This was supposed to be a launch game at $70. And when they announced it, they were pushing it. It wasn't delayed because it wasn't ready. It was delayed because they realized charging $70 and putting it out at launch was a bad idea. Because
Hmm.
we said at the time there was like they had 6 or 7 PlayStation exclusive games coming out
Right.
on launch day, and we said at that point in time this was the least important of all of them, and this is the most important about having online because this is the one that had online only. This is the only one that's online specific, and this game had to come out and do well. And I imagine probably pre-orders numbers they're looking at pre-order numbers like, oh, no one gives a fuck about this game. We need to just put it out there for free. So put it out there. It's a PlayStation Plus, free game for February. It's gonna be up there for 2 months. But don't remember if you're a PS Plus member and you don't have a PS5 yet, you can go on the PlayStation Store and you can still add them to your library. So that way you're not missing like games like Bug Snacks and we had Man Eater last month.
Hmm.
And this is out there for 2 months. Don't miss out. You can still get them. But this isn't a game you probably need to run out and do that right away. Honestly, I fairly only played about 4 matches, um, and it's a game, Gables. It's a game. I don't have. It's just like one of those games. We always talk about like there's those games you hate, and like you've heard me
Hmm.
rant multiple times about Resident Evil 6 or Death Stranding. And you've heard me
Right.
rave about games I love like God of War, Horizon, or you talk about games like Breath of the Wild or Persona,
Hmm.
or when
Oh
we're
yeah.
passionate about games or we really hate a game, we could talk about it for 20 fucking minutes or an hour. And then
Yep.
there's games like this that come out and just don't do anything, and it's just I don't have much to say about it. It's just I played it. It is a there's nothing. It's not a bad game. There's nothing bad about it. Like it runs well. Everything seems to work. It takes a long time, not a long, like a solid 90 seconds probably to get into a game at the loading once you click actually start a game. I don't know if it's just
Okay.
because no one's playing or what the fucking deal is with that. There's 4 different game modes. I've only played one, and it was uh, it's like basically like a 16 person free for all where like so in this game you can run around but you can also jump into a car and it's like destruction derby basically. Which fun fact, this was actually supposed to be a destruction derby game because PlayStation wanted to bring that back, but then it turned into Destruction All Stars. So, anyways,
Hmm.
it's basically like a hero type of thing where like a hero shooter like Overwatch where every character has their own
Right.
witty thing and their own powers, blah blah blah. And same thing with this, each character has their own vehicle they use and has their own powers. Like one of them I use like he can turn his car invisible, which isn't really all that helpful because people just drive into you because they don't realize you're fucking there. But kind of the main thing in like the game I played, um, you have like you hit the right stick left or right to like do like you dash that way, or you hit forward to like kind of boost up and you want to hit them while you're doing these maneuvers, and you get points for hitting people and you get more points for the harder the hits. And if you KO the car, which your car eventually will take enough damage that you get knocked out of it, and then they get more points for knocking you out, or you can jump out of the vehicle and you can steal their vehicle, or you can jump on your own. The problem is with this game is not only is it not really a lot of fun, but also like I can't really tell when, like sometimes I feel like I hit somebody hard and I should get some points for that, but it doesn't count them. And then like sometimes I feel like I'm like fuck, I fucked it up. I hit him, but it wasn't dashing when I hit him, and I'll get
Right.
3 points or something like that for an excellent hit. And I'm like, okay, or like I'll bump into somebody and they get points for hitting me, and I'm like, all right, it just doesn't feel like that. Like when you get hit or you hit somebody, like you can't tell just based off of the rumble, that like okay that was a good hit or whatever. It's like it just feels very random about how like the points the like it's all about like who does the most gets the most points in a certain amount of time. But the points in this game feel like whose line is anyways. Well, they don't really matter because you can't really fucking tell when you're getting them. Um, Other than the things popping up telling you got them. But you just yeah I don't know. I don't really I just don't care for it. But I don't know. It's fine. I and people always talk about, oh, is it the next Rocket League? And it's like, there's no next Rocket League. Rocket League's Rocket League. And I love to have the next big game that just takes over and like you, me, and all the talk ship guys just hop online and fucking play
Oh,
together.
no
It's also
doubt.
really frustrating when there's like 4 or 5 of us in the group that have a PS fucking 5.
Yep.
Um, and the people that I'd love to have that new thing because it's just like it's hard to get back into like games like Rocket League or Overwatch. Well, as much as I enjoy playing these games with the group and our friends, it sucks when you go back to play those games because game like people that are playing those games right now, if you're not playing with each other or playing other people, the people that are still playing those games right now are the best of the best playing those fucking games.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
jumping into a Call of Duty game 6 months in. It's like the people who are still playing this game in June are the fucking like these guys play it constantly. Like this is their game they play. It's just like, and I don't know. I'd love to have that next big thing out there. It's like I enjoy like playing Friday 13th or Predator or shit like that because it's like I feel like I can hang with anybody because we just jump in to play together. But I don't know. I mean, it's a game that's out there. If you have PS Plus, check it out. I don't know. Maybe I haven't heard anybody like come out and like rail against it, but I haven't heard no one also in that same boat. Nobody's come out and like no one's giving it nines. I've looked at I haven't looked at like all the scores, but I've seen reviews and people talk about it's like in that 6-ish range, like 7-ish, like that 6.5, 7.5 game. When it's not terrible, but it's there. You know.
Average.
Yeah, it's an average game, and it's just like it's just that's the case where when games like this, where it's like an online game like this, where it's like you can't be average, you have to be outstanding. You can be an average single player game or whatever, but it's like when you are a game that requires to be online and have an online community at all times to play this game, and you're just completely average across the board.
Right.
You might as well not exist. But that's all really ever I played this week. I'm nothing else really. What about you, Gables?
All right. So there have been a couple games I have been playing. Continuation from Cyber Shadow from last week. I did go through and finished up one chapter more than the last one. So it's initially this stage that I went through where the end of it had this sort of like this monorail sort of thing. And what's kind of interesting about this one, because I have pretty much all the technique stuff that's upgraded that I'm aware of, I'm flying through different things. I'm getting more used to the whole dash cutting of stuff, and the whole entirety of this like stage that I was going through, you have to implement like the dash slash mechanic and stuff to like time specific portions throughout this stage. I did die a fair amount of times, but at the same time, it was fun to experiment what timing was going to work in terms of slashing, then get onto a wall, try to wall ride it, like kind of like the wall slide, and then like try to jump onto another opposite portion of the platforms. But the boss at the end of this level, and I think it was like chapter 7, basically is chasing this monorail, right? That you're riding. So you're inside the middle of this train car, and he just goes and busts through the portion of it, and you have to like try to shoot at the main eye that he has and stuff. And then all of a sudden you have these two orbs that are like just flying in. Like it starts out with one, right? And you have to shoot the thing so much to break the shield, so it's like a ball of energy. And the fun part about it is you could shoot the ball of energy back to the eye, or you can go through and just basically slash the eye. Then once the thing gets like more intense and stuff, once it goes into like a critical phase, it's going to be like two of these orbs that you got to slash through and do this and do that. But my thoughts and opinions remain mostly the same of this game from last week, where the music's fantastic, the level design is thorough and quite interesting in my honest opinion. I am still intrigued with the story aspects of it, but gosh, this game is still fun to play in that regards. I just wish I could have like played a little bit more of it. But I did play a little bit of Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. I got a little bit farther inside of it. I don't know why I just decided to download it on Game Pass again, and I tried to go a little bit further inside of it, which I'm starting to get more accustomed to it. I mean, quintessentially, it's Symphony of the Night, but at the same point, since I'm not in the mood to play that, since I've already played that game to death, I've gone through some bits and portions of the bit of the castle. I am collecting like shards of these monsters, more akin to a previous game that I had played, Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. That game you collected souls and you used their abilities. Inside of Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, it's the same concept, only they're not souls, they're shards. But if you collect a certain amount of shards for one creature and don't like sell it off or use it, whatever, it's going to like be detrimental to you, and you will gain pretty much like it'll have like a negative effect on the character, quintessentially. So it's constantly encouraging. Hey, if you like collect so much of a different shard or something like that, you can go through the main hub, like this building that the supporting cast lives in and stuff, and you can exchange them for either like certain items, certain food things and stuff, or certain like weapons or whatsoever. It has a crafting system too, where you can get like all sorts of different like crafting different armors, this and that. And what I love about it is if you do craft armor or weapons, it will affect the look of Miriam, which is really cool because you can actually see what you actually equipped onto your character instead of it just like the generic like sprite looking thing. If say she's wearing like a corset or like a hat of a specific way, or wearing specific like type of like shoes or gauntlets, or using a specific weapon, it will show on the actual sprite when you do the selection screen, when you're going through your status things, or when you're on like in the game itself and then you're trying to play that and stuff. So I like that attention to detail when it comes to that, because that's been one of my pet peeves in playing certain like Metroidvania games, where if you equip certain items, I would like to have it reflect on the character in game. I mean, that would make sense. But I played a little bit of that. For kicks, I decided to download Destiny 2 on the Xbox One S because I wanted to try to see how that game would run. And quite honestly, I still encounter the same issues with terms of the server that I do like on the PS4 version of it, where it's like I don't know whether or not if it's just their servers, the Bungie servers, or if it's my internet connection, because I don't think I have a gigabit like connection. Honestly, I think I have like something a little bit older, since I've got this modem and stuff. This old modem, I think it's at least a good solid 2 or 3 years old. So I'm probably going to consider like looking into what type of options I have, because my friend was talking to me a little bit about like a gigabit internet like options and stuff, where he spent like 100 something like a month in order to have this kind of like connection. But he's saying that he downloaded Assassin's Creed Odyssey like with a span of 5 minutes in that regards to how data goes through from there and there.
Well,
But
so real quick, cut you off there. Sorry. With especially with PlayStation, their PS4 download speeds maxed out at
mm-hmm,
20, and I
20,
believe the Xbox One was like 50 megabytes per second.
50.
Yeah. So,
Wow,
so it's even if you have gigabit internet connection, you still are capped by what PlayStation and Xbox can do. With the new
interesting.
consoles, they're not. So that could also be part of it. Where like I mean, with my PS5, I'm downloading because I have 300 megabytes per second, and
Okay,
yeah, even with having all that, I mean, it's more than I need, but they gave me a free upgrade, so that's what I got. But anyways,
awesome.
um, yeah, so like games are downloading so much fucking faster on my PS5 now because you know it's I don't know if there's unlimited speed about downloading it, but from what I understand that there isn't a limit that I know of, but on like
Right.
PS4 and all that shit. Like yeah, like a 60 gigabyte game would take you an hour to do. And now with 60 gigabyte game, like I just re-downloaded Division 2 the other day, and I played it for a little bit, but um, like I downloaded that whole game with the PS5 update patch, and like I think it's like 60 gigabytes in like 15 minutes. So
Hmm.
yeah. I don't
Okay.
have blazing speed either, but I mean for me it's perfect for what I need. It's whatever. So yeah,
Okay.
that might be part of your problem. Might not be your modem. Might just be that these consoles are capped at what they can do for downloads.
That may be the case too. I had suspected possibly something along those lines, but I wasn't entirely sure. But I'll look into it later on this week and basically see what I can find out. But the
Yeah.
last game I have played is a game that I picked up last week, which was Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I have
Oh,
the game
okay.
now.
I played it today too.
Dude, I do have the game. I have put in a fair amount of it last week because I wanted to see how well I would have retained. And yeah, I actually retained quite a bit. I've been
Nice.
playing through the initial chapter, the initial thing with Scott Pilgrim, obviously, and then do it on the average, not the average Joe, but like the rough and tough difficulty. So it's like the
Oh fuck.
normal
Okay.
difficulty.
Mm-mm.
So the only difference about that I can see is like different types of character sprites that are a little bit more, plus the increased HP, because HP gets more like for like character you're facing off against, the higher difficulty it is. So Supreme Master, it's like they're like sponges, but essentially.
Hmm.
But I'm already past the. I think I'm already past like the sixth X's or something like that.
Jesus. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I'm not even. I think I'm getting close to like towards the end of the game in and of itself, but I'm still open to playing bits of co-op with you, Tyler. Obviously,
Please.
I will.
I'm on average Joe and I can't beat the first level. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Okay,
I'm
well,
terrible at this game.
so let's see. I could have you be Scott Pilgrim, obviously, and I could
Okay.
like choose another character because I would like
Nice.
to play through it with, say, Wallace Wells because that's a trophy that is actually there if you really want to
Okay.
aim for it. Where Wallace Wells is like the, I think the roommate for Scott Pilgrim,
Yeah.
like in the stories in of itself. Fun fact: I actually have the first two like novels of the first two like
Oh, cool.
issues of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Actually, I forgot I actually have them, but I do those graphic novels. But that's like 2 of 5 or whatsoever. But I don't have the other ones. Anyway, the game in and of itself, it runs well. Obviously, what's the thing that makes this game pretty fun is it takes a lot of cues from River City Ransom, where when you go into certain shopping districts and stuff, you can buy certain items that'll help you improve your stats. So, for example, there are there is a shop that it's like a record shop, right? And if you like buy a specific like record there, it'll not only increase the health and guts that you have, but there are other items inside that thing that will increase certain like stats in and of itself. Let's say attack, defense, speed, or WP, whatever that stands for. I forget what it was, but basically,
Willpower?
I think willpower. Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's what it is. When it comes to this game, you have to go through and grind upon the first level a couple different times and stuff and collect currency. Honestly, from what I've seen, the currency is really generous. I think they actually increased the amount of coins that you could earn through beating certain enemies and this and that. So by going through the first level a couple of different times, I was able to upgrade Scott Pilgrim. He's actually at his max level now at like level 15, level 16. There's like
Okay.
another tech attack that I'm not too sure how to unlock, but he basically knows how to like grab certain opponents and stuff and just like do like that rapid punch succession. He knows how to throw this stuff, but yeah, there's attacks where you could do like a double jump or something like that. Press triangle in the air, it'll do like an air kick or whatsoever. Like then you can combo into certain things, and then there's like these tech attacks where you have the directional button up and then triangle. With for Scott Pilgrim, he does it sort of like a almost like a flame and like sure you can sort of like move
Does like the
and
uppercut, jumping uppercut?
yeah,
Okay.
not like a jumping uppercut, but he puts his fist in the
Oh.
air and it's like flames or something like that comes out of it or something of that sort.
Okay.
But I was actually surprised how much I retained from playing that game originally. Because bear in mind, I hadn't done a full playthrough of that game since the game first launched on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, respectively. And I forgot that what certain items I could use to increase my health and this and that. So what I ended up doing is I leveled up in the first chapter a couple different times. I went to a spot just past the shopping district, and just before you get into the that underpass and stuff with the cars and stuff, there's a star, right? And I forgot that's actually Wallace's secret shop. So you go inside
Hmm.
there, and if you like hold on to say 200 some odd coins, I think, or but yeah, anywhere between like 120 to like 200 something coins, there are two specific items that will help you out tremendously in terms of leveling up your status. One of them, I believe, is like Bionic Arm,
Hmm.
which is which is like a reference to Bionic Commando. So if you save up enough money for that, it increases your attack stat by 50 points, and your stats have a cap of 100 for each stat. So attack, defense, willpower, speed. But in terms of like Speedy the Porcupine, the other one, you can actually increase your speed by 50 and stuff. So it rewards you for playing the same levels over and over again, beating the same bosses over and over again. And when the chapters get much more like further on and stuff, yeah, there are a little bit more intense sequences of that stuff you'll come across. But the boss battles in of itself, I think, are pretty fun. But I know you haven't played this game before, Tyler, so I'm not going to really
Hmm.
spoil that aspect. But the final chapter and stuff, I need to reacquaint myself with that. But I do want to do another playthrough after I finish this one up. So anytime that we have like say a good some time off or something, maybe later on this week or wherever the hell that you want to go through
Yeah.
and do, yeah, that's fine. I don't mind playing a little bit of co-op with it because for one, it's like
Yeah.
we haven't played a co-op game together since Extra Life.
Yeah.
And quite
Right.
honestly, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, it's a fantastic beat 'em up. So it gives me some other reasons. We'll both start on the
Yeah.
same level. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll
I'd be
just do
fine
it
with
that way.
that. Because I mean, I love Scott Pilgrim. I mean, I was playing it this morning, and I was like, cause I just sat down. I'm like, I died in the first level, ran out of lives. I'm like, fuck. So I just went over and I just watched the movie again for like the 50th fucking time. I love that. I love Scott Pilgrim. I love the movie, so I just went back and I rewatched the entire movie instead. So yeah, I'm all for playing it. Yeah, because I like the game and I want to play it. I'm not good at it. Um, but I think that might wrap it up for this week, guys.
Yes.
Uh, thank you so much for listening. Um, if you like the show and you want to watch it live, you can do that. We're on Twitch.tv every Sunday night. For the most part, every Sunday night. Sometimes on Saturday, but for the most part, Sunday night. Usually around 9:30 Central Time, 7:30 Pacific Time. Most time, like this week, we're a little later because of the Super Bowl and all that. But
Yep.
most part, expect us around that 7:30 Pacific Time time frame we're usually on. Um, yeah, we're also on everything later on. If you can't watch us live, I always post the Twitch video on YouTube immediately afterwards, so we'll be on there a little bit later. Then the audio version is everywhere as well. Um, check us out all those places: iTunes, YouTube, Twitch, um, anywhere you listen to podcasts, we're on them. We're big in India right now because I posted on Gianna, I think is what's I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, we're on everything. Player FM, Spotify, we're on all those. Check us out, Drunk Nerds Podcast, Drunk Nerds Podcast. Look us up, you'll find us. Follow, subscribe, like, heart, 5 stars, thumbs up, comments, shares, all those. We really would appreciate it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. I was Tyler.
And I've been Colonel Gables. So until next time, everyone, I hope that you have yourself a good week. I hope you play some fun games. And I hope you do pick up like Super Mario 3D World, Bowser's Fury coming out this Friday in the U.S.
It's gonna be a good
Other
weekend.
territories, I'm not sure, but hey, that game's a classic. It definitely is worth the purchase.
Mm.
So until next time, everyone, peace.
Hey Gables,
Yeah,
too sweet.
too sweet, man.
Bye guys.
See ya.